My name is Zachary Privette. I am a third-year biology major, and I am the lead habitat technician of the Nash Community College Biodiversity Center.
My name is Clayton Lynch. This is my second year here at Nash, working on my associates in science, and I'm a lab technician working in the Biodiversity Center.
Okay. So this is the Biodiversity Center that we're in here at Nash Community College. The motto here is for students, by students. So that means that everything that happens back here is done by students in order to better them in the future. All of these animals were either raised or purchased by the students, and now they're being taken care of by said students. We also take care of plants, and we sell them when we have an abundance of them. We have lots of different animals here. We don't discriminate based on species. We don't discriminate based on type of animal. We have reptiles, amphibians. We have snakes, lizards, and a lot of salamanders, because Mr. Beamer, as you'll know, is a salamander biologist. 3 years ago, when I first got here, I was not the head technician immediately. It was Nate Akers, and he was in his last year, and I was asked almost immediately if I was interested in doing this stuff. And of course, I said yes, because I love biology and I love animals. And although I've had some ups and downs where I've kind of hated doing it or disliked it a little bit more or less, I've still come to love it, and I do it as much as possible because it's something I truly enjoy.
Yeah, I got in here my second semester, took Mr. Beamer's 110 class, and I met Zach, and he asked me if I wanted to be a technician in here, and I've been in here ever since. I enjoy working with the animals. It's fun to take care of them, to see them be healthy and happy, so yeah, it's enjoyable.
I think our tiger salamander, Ted, is probably my favorite to work with. He's been in captivity his entire life, so he knows people very well, and he's very social, and a lot of times you'll walk in here and he'll kind of have his hands up against the glass because he wants some food. And so he's probably my favorite.
Well, my favorite is the spotted turtle. They just do so much, man. They're so interested in you, and they pay attention to you. They're pretty smart animals to be a turtle.
So this is Daisy. She's our spotted turtle. We have two spotted turtles, but she was the first one that we had. Their range is all over North America and mostly to the eastern coast, but they are semi-aquatic, so she will come up for air, but she needs to be in water her entire life. And we've had her for a long time. She's been here ever since I have, so she's one of our oldest inhabitants as well. And people like to feed her a lot, so a lot of times you can come in here, especially during the summer when people like to come in here and look at the animals, and she'll be pretty fat and not be able to fit all the way into her shell, but nevertheless, she still loves people and she loves the attention. So this is Ted, our tiger salamander. He's been here almost his entire life, if not his entire, and he is one of our oldest members of the Biodiversity Center. He has survived many, many years where the heat or air conditioning went off or on and was causing bad conditions, but he has nevertheless pursued, and he is still with us. Tiger salamanders are mole salamanders, so they dig in the ground. And so if you ever saw his tank, it's got a bunch of holes in it from where he likes to dig, and his head has some dirt on it because he doesn't know how to clean himself off. But Ted is very used to people. He will actively come up to the glass at his terrarium hoping that you'll give him some food. We also raise the food that we feed these things, so a lot of times people think that what we do is we go and buy animal food and we give it to them. No, we raise mealworms here, and so they go through their entire life cycle here, and we use those to kind of recycle. Eventually they'll lay eggs, and those will hatch, and we'll be able to feed them to other things. So obviously some things can't eat mealworms, so we do have to buy their food, but we have lots of things going on here that a lot of people don't know about, like our plants were started from 2 plants, and now we have an abundance of them. And our mealworms were started from 500, and now we have close to 2,000. So we have lots of things that are going on behind the scenes that people don't see a lot of times. I know for me, every time I go out in the field, which is weekly, I try to find something to bring back. So whether it goes in here or goes to Mr. Beamer's collection or to my house, well, kind of depends. If we have room here, this is the first priority. It always goes here if we have room. If we don't have room, then I try to figure out where can I put this so that it will either live a happy life or be useful to science. So I don't know How often do you bring stuff back from the field?
Well, every time we go on one of Mr. Beamer's Bio 146 trips, we usually bring back something to put in one of the tanks.
Yeah.
Salamanders, crayfish, a snake.
Yeah.
This is Jack Frost. He's an albino corn snake, and they're a pretty common snake in North America. He's pretty comfortable with people. I've let little children handle him. Everybody's handled him at events. I know I went to an event at Sylvan Heights, and over 100 people touched him in the same day, so it's pretty nice.
Corn snakes are one of the most popular domesticated snakes, along with the common king snake. They are very docile even in the wild. A lot of times people will pick them up in the wild and it doesn't bother them. So that's why they've become so popular. They've also got these really vibrant colors. Even the albino ones still have these patches of different colors, and they still are very beautiful snakes. So this is the American giant millipede, and a lot of people don't know a lot about millipedes, but they're a very secretive animal. They live on the forest floor. They eat dead leaves and other dead stuff on the bottom of the forest floor, and they're kind of like worms. They do the same thing, but in some countries they actually replace worms as the #1 decomposer. They are 100% harmless to people. They don't have any fangs or anything that they could use to sting or bite you, and the only defense that they really have is hiding, rolling up into a ball, or releasing chemicals from their bottom side. And they kind of deter predators away from them because they don't want to have that nastiness in their mouth. But his cousin species, they can release toxin that is the same thing that's found in cherries. So a lot of people call them the cherry millipedes because they smell a lot like cherries. But his toxin smells really bad and is really, really dark colored, and it stains really bad. So you wouldn't want to be toxined by him, but he only really would ever do it if he felt super, super, super in danger. So just handling him would never do that. But these are some of the easiest animals to handle because they don't move very quickly and they're not dangerous. And they don't actually have 1,000 legs. So we're at our carrying capacity now, and I think we have 22 terrariums set up. However, that does not mean that we have a certain amount of species in each terrarium. Some of them have multiple. Our tank 17 over here has 3 different species in it, one of which is a snake, and 2 are a frog and a toad. So we don't discriminate based on our carrying capacity. We still try to bring in a diverse group of animals in order to truly understand how these things live in the environment. So the land terrariums, they only get changed once per year, but the aquariums, they need to be changed multiple times per week to keep them clean. So last week, I believe that all of these aquariums behind me were done every single day possible. So we have to let the water sit for 24 hours because it has chlorine in it, and chlorine can't be in the same tank as fish, so it kind of cycles out. But we change the aquariums as often as possible, and the terrariums, they get changed once a year or if they need it. Obviously, we do most of the work in here, and so we don't need huge contributors, but the smaller contributors are really what we're looking for. The people who can come in here and change a tank every week, or change Daisy's tank, or pick up the stuff in Ted's tank, or something like that. Craziest thing that's happened in the lab, that's a good one. Well, one time I walked in here and the snakes weren't in their tank, and there was some of their little, I guess it's like shavings were out in the hallway, and I guess somebody had come in here and grabbed the snake, taken it out, but I don't know who it was, but now we have locks on them. That was 3 years ago when I first started here, and that was like the craziest thing to me. I was super scared of snakes at the time, so when I heard one of them got out, I was like, okay, maybe I don't need to be doing this. So this is a Coleus plant. We bought them a few years ago. We only bought 2. Now we have a lot more than 2 because students put in a lot of hard work to cut the stems and root them. And what that has done has given us lots of individual plants from just one. The way you cut them and root them is by just cutting a segment that has leaves on it, and then you put that segment into water, and it eventually grows roots, and you can put it in a pot with dirt in it, and you'll have an individual plant. And you can do this with any size, any style of Coleus plant. They'll all do it. They're for sale, $3. So obviously if you buy one, you're buying 100 because you can just continually root cut and rooted.